The diamond necklace hit the wet pavement with a sharp clink before Elena Ward kicked it into the storm drain. $3 million gone. She didn't look back. Rain hammered the alley as she pulled a lighter from her coat, watching the flame dance against her passport photo. The girl in that picture, designer dresses, charity galas, Daddy's perfect princess, was dead now. Had to be. They called me an heiress, she whispered to no one, watching the edges curl and blacken. But all I inherited were enemies. Behind her, sirens wailed through the city. Federal agents were tearing through the Ward estate right now, boxing up evidence of every dirty deal her father had made. Money laundering. Extortion. Worse things she'd only heard whispered about in hallways she wasn't supposed to walk down. The passport dissolved into ash. Elena Ward disappeared with it. 6 months later, a woman named Lena West checked her watch behind the front desk of the Tidewater Hotel. Small coastal town. Quiet. The kind of place where people came to forget, which made it perfect for someone who needed to be forgotten. The automatic doors whispered open. Lena looked up from her computer screen and felt her breath catch. The man walking toward her desk moved like water, smooth, unhurried, but with an underlying current of coiled power. Dark hair, sharp jawline, eyes that swept the lobby in a way that had nothing to do with admiring the decor. He wore an expensive watch that contradicted his simple black jacket. "Checking in," he said. His voice was low, controlled. "Adrian Cole." Lena's fingers trembled slightly as she typed. She'd gotten good at reading people in the past 6 months. Survival skill. This man was dangerous, but not the kind of dangerous that made her want to run. Not yet, anyway. "Room 412, she said, sliding the key card across the marble counter. "4th floor, ocean view." His fingers brushed hers as he took the card. Brief contact, but enough to send electricity up her arm. "Thank you, Lena." He read her name tag, and something in his expression softened. "You work late shifts often?" "Someone has to." She tried for casual, but her instincts were screaming. How many guests asked about her schedule? He nodded once, then headed for the elevators. Lena watched him go, unease settling in her stomach like a stone. 2 nights later, she was closing up the back office when rough hands grabbed her from behind. Lena's scream cut short as a palm clamped over her mouth. She thrashed, kicked backward, connected with shin bone. Her attacker grunted but didn't let go. "Elena Ward," a voice hissed in her ear. Tobacco breath, cheap cologne. "Your daddy's got a debt to pay, and you're the collateral." Terror flooded her veins. They'd found her. After everything, after burning her entire life to ash, they'd found her. Then suddenly the hands were gone. Lena spun around to see her attacker slammed against the brick wall. Adrian Cole's forearm pressed against his throat. "Touch her again," Adrian said quietly, "and I'll break every bone in your hand before I start on your arms." The man's eyes bulged. Adrian increased the pressure slightly, and the guy nodded frantically. Adrian released him, and he scrambled away into the darkness, coughing. Lena stood frozen, shaking. Adrian turned to her, and his expression shifted from cold fury to something gentler. "You okay? How did you? You were just there." She couldn't finish the sentence. "I was watching." He said it like it was obvious, like it was normal. "You've been in danger since the day you checked me in. I could see it. I don't understand. You don't have to. But you need protection, and I'm offering it." He stepped closer, and she could see now that his knuckles were scraped. "Let me keep you safe, Lena. Or should I say Elena?" Her blood turned to ice. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." His voice wasn't cruel, just certain. "And so do the people hunting you. You need someone who knows how to fight them." She should have run. Should have grabbed her emergency bag from her apartment and disappeared again. But something in his eyes made her stay. "Why would you help me?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "Because someone should have helped you 6 months ago, before everything fell apart." That's how Adrian Cole became the shadow she couldn't shake. He moved into the apartment next to hers. "Coincidence," he said, though she stopped believing in coincidences. He walked her home after late shifts. Showed up at the grocery store when she was shopping. Always nearby, always watching, always ready. "You're paranoid," she told him one night as they sat in his car outside her building, scanning the dark street for threats that might not even exist. "I'm cautious," he corrected. "There's a difference. What are you really doing here, Adrian?" He looked at her then, and something flickered across his face. "Keeping you alive." "Why? Does it matter?" Yes, she said and realized she meant it. This man who'd crashed into her life, who fought for her, who looked at her like she was worth protecting. She needed to know why. Needed to know if any of it was real. Adrian reached over and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture was so tender it hurt. Because you deserve better than what they did to you, he said quietly. Better than what your father did to you. Lena's eyes burned. You don't know anything about my father. I know enough. The weeks that followed blurred together in a strange mixture of fear and something dangerously close to happiness. Adrian taught her self-defense in his apartment. Showed her how to spot a tail, how to disappear in a crowd, how to read body language that telegraphed violence. But it was the quiet moments that undid her. Coffee at dawn before her shift, his shoulder brushing hers. The way he listened when she talked about books she'd read, places she wanted to go when this was all over. The night she fell asleep on his couch and woke to find him watching her with an expression that made her chest ache. What? She'd whispered. Nothing, he'd said. But his hand had found hers in the darkness. She was falling for him. Falling hard and fast and recklessly, which was insane given the circumstances. Given everything. Then she saw the phone call. It was accident. She'd gone to his apartment to return a book and his phone was on the counter, screen lit with an incoming call. She shouldn't have looked. Wouldn't have, except she saw the name on the display. Marcus Chun. Her father's biggest rival. The man who'd testified against the Ward Empire. Who'd helped bring everything crashing down. Lena's hand shook as she picked up the phone. The call went to voicemail, but her mind was already racing. She opened his recent calls. Dozens to Marcus Chun. To people she recognized from news reports about her father's trial. His laptop was open on the dining table. She knew she was crossing a line, but her fingers were already moving, clicking through screens. Bank transfers. Millions of dollars moving through accounts she recognized. Money that had belonged to her father's network, being systematically drained. And emails. God, the emails. Target confirmed safe. Continuing surveillance. Asset shows no awareness of family operations. Recommend maintaining current position. Elena Ward is not complicit. Repeat, not complicit. But useful leverage if needed. The laptop crashed to the floor. Adrian was standing in the doorway, still wearing his jacket. His face was carefully blank. Lena. Don't. Her voice shook. Don't call me that. You know exactly who I am. You've known from the beginning. He didn't deny it. That was somehow worse. You're working for them, she continued, backing away. For the people who destroyed my family. You've been using me. It's not that simple. Then make it simple. She was shouting now, tears streaming down her face. Tell me the truth, Adrian. If that's even your real name. His jaw clenched. For a long moment he said nothing. Then quietly, come with me. Why would I? Because you deserve the whole truth. He held out his hand. Please, Elena. Trust me one more time. She shouldn't have. Every instinct screamed at her to run. But she took his hand. He drove them to an industrial building on the outskirts of town. Used his fingerprint to unlock a reinforced door. Led her down a hallway that smelled of electronics and coffee. The room he brought her to was filled with monitors. Dozens of them showing security feeds, financial records, organizational charts. And at the center of it all, like a spider at the heart of a web, was her father's face. What is this? Lena whispered. This, Adrian said quietly, is 3 years of my life. He clicked a button and a presentation loaded. Photos of her father with known criminals. Wire transfers to offshore accounts. Names and dates and crimes that made her stomach turn. Your father's organization didn't just break laws, Adrian continued. His voice was hollow, detached. They destroyed lives. Including mine. He pulled up another photo. A woman with kind eyes and graying hair. My mother. She worked as an accountant for one of your father's subsidiaries. When she found irregularities, she reported them. They killed her and made it look like a car accident. Lena's hand flew to her mouth. I spent 2 years in military intelligence, then 3 more building a financial empire specifically to take your father down from the inside. He turned to face her, and his eyes were full of something raw and painful. I've been systematically dismantling every piece of his network, freezing assets, gathering evidence, making sure none of it can ever be rebuilt. And me. Her voice cracked. Where do I fit in your revenge plan? You weren't supposed to fit anywhere. He stepped closer. I thought you were complicit. Thought you had to know what he was doing. When you disappeared, I tracked you down to find out what you were hiding. So you could use me. So I could protect you. His voice turned fierce. The moment I met you, I knew you were innocent. You were another one of his victims, Elena. And he stopped, jaw working. I couldn't let them hurt you too. You lied to me. I did. You used me for information. In the beginning, yes. And then. She was crying now, angry and heartbroken and so tired of running. What was I then, Adrian? What am I now? He reached for her face, thumbs brushing away her tears. Everything, he said roughly. You became everything. Before she could respond, alarms shrieked through the building. Adrian's expression turned to stone. He pulled up security feeds showing black SUVs surrounding the building. Men with guns pouring out. Your father's people, he said, already moving. They must have tracked you here. We need to go. Now. They ran. The hallway erupted in gunfire as they burst through the exit. Adrian returned fire with a gun she hadn't known he was carrying, pushing her toward his car. Glass shattered. Someone screamed. Get in. Adrian shoved her into the passenger seat, bullets pinging off the metal frame. He floored it, tires squealing as they shot into the night. Behind them, headlights gave chase. Hold on, Adrian said grimly, taking a corner at 70 miles per hour. They screamed through back roads, the speedometer climbing. Adrian drove like he'd done this 1,000 times, his face set in concentration. Behind them, the SUVs kept pace. There's too many, Lena gasped, looking back. Adrian, there's too many. I know. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. They hit the docks going 90. Adrian slammed the brakes, sending the car into a controlled spin. Before Lena could process what was happening, he was out and pulling her after him. The boat, he said, pointing to a speedboat tied at the end of the pier. Go. But the SUVs were already there, cutting off their escape. Men poured out, weapons raised. A dozen of them, maybe more. Adrian stepped in front of her, gun raised. Walk away, he called out. She has nothing to do with this. She has everything to do with this. A man stepped forward, someone Lena vaguely recognized from her father's inner circle. She's Ward's daughter. And you're the bastard who destroyed everything he built. He destroyed it himself. Semantics. The man smiled coldly. Drop your weapon. Both of you are coming with us. Adrian didn't move. Lena could see him calculating odds, looking for angles. There were too many. They both knew it. Adrian, she whispered. Don't. I'm not letting them take you. The first shot seemed to come from everywhere at once. Adrian went down hard, blood blooming across his shoulder. Lena screamed, dropping to her knees beside him. He was still conscious, still trying to raise his gun with a shaking hand. No, she sobbed. No, please. More gunfire. But this time it wasn't aimed at them. Federal agents swarmed the docks, tactical teams moving with military precision. The men surrounding them fell back, some raising hands in surrender, others foolish enough to return fire. It was over in minutes. Lena knelt in Adrian's blood, pressing her hands to his shoulder while he looked up at her with dazed eyes. Called them, he managed, breathing hard. Before we left. Gave them everything. All the evidence. You're an idiot, she said, crying and laughing at the same time. A heroic, stupid idiot. Yeah, he agreed and smiled despite the pain. But you're safe now. That's all that matters. Paramedics arrived, prying her away from him. She watched them load him into an ambulance, watched the federal agents handcuff her father's men, watched her entire past being packed away into evidence bags. An agent approached her, older woman, kind face. Ms. Ward, we're going to need your statement. I don't know anything, Lena said automatically. We know. Mr. Cole made that very clear in his files. He's been keeping extensive documentation proving your non-involvement in your father's activities. The agent's expression softened. You're not under investigation, Ms. Ward. You're a witness. And from what I understand, you're also the reason we have enough evidence to put away everyone involved in the Ward organization. Lena blinked. I don't understand. Adrian Cole has been working with us for 6 months, since you disappeared. Every moment he spent with you, every place you went, it was all documented to prove you weren't part of your father's crimes. He risked his entire operation to clear your name. The words hit her like a physical blow. He hadn't just been protecting her. He'd been saving her. For weeks later, Lena stood on the deck of a house perched above the ocean, watching waves crash against the rocks below. The news played through the open door behind her. The Ward crime empire has officially fallen today as the last of its key members received their sentences. She turned it off. She'd heard enough about her father's sins. Adrian was inside, sitting on the couch with his arm in a sling. He looked up when she walked in, and something in his expression made her heart squeeze. "Hey," he said softly. "Hey yourself." She sat beside him, careful not to jostle his injured shoulder. "How are you feeling?" "Better now that you're here." They'd been dancing around each other for weeks. He was recovering. She was trying to figure out who Elena Ward was when she wasn't running or hiding or pretending to be someone else. "I've been thinking," she said finally, "about what you said that night at the docks." Adrian went very still. "Elena, you could have told me the truth from the beginning," she interrupted. "About who you were. What you were doing. Would you have believed me?" She considered that. Thought about the terrified girl who'd burned her passport in a rainy alley, who'd seen enemies in every shadow. Would that girl have trusted a stranger claiming to be her secret protector? "No," she admitted. "I wouldn't have. That's why I didn't tell you." "That's not the only reason though, is it?" She turned to face him fully. "You were protecting yourself too. Because this," she gestured between them, "wasn't supposed to happen." Adrian's jaw tightened. "No, it wasn't. Do you regret it?" "Never." The word came out fierce, certain. "Not 1 second with you, Elena." She leaned in slowly, giving him time to pull away. He didn't. Their lips met softly, carefully, like they were both afraid of breaking something precious. When they finally pulled apart, Adrian rested his forehead against hers. "Your secret was worth billions," she whispered. "Literally." He laughed quietly. "Yeah, but you're worth more." Outside, the ocean glinted in the afternoon sun, vast and endless and free. For the first time in months, Elena Ward didn't feel like she was running. She felt like she'd finally found somewhere worth staying. "Thank you," she said softly. "For everything. For saving me when I didn't even know I needed saving." Adrian's hand found hers, fingers intertwining. "Always." They sat together as the sun set, two people who'd been broken by secrets and saved by truth, watching the waves carry away the past. Behind them, the life they'd both fought so hard for was finally beginning. If you loved Elena and Adrian's story of secrets, betrayal, and redemption, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more intense romance stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Drop a comment below. Would you have trusted Adrian if you were in Elena's shoes? See you in the next story.